Have you noticed this too? I mean, it feels like all of a sudden, everywhere you look, every brand is getting into the coffee business, from fancy fashion houses to, yeah, even banks. So, what is going on? Let's get into it.
This post right here, it just perfectly captures that feeling of surprise, doesn't it? You walk into a store you know, like Aritzia, to buy a sweater, and bam, there's a barista. And you know what? This is not some random thing. It's a massive, totally calculated shift in the world of retail. So, yeah, that's the big question we're going to unpack here. Why are our favorite stores suddenly smelling like a high-end coffee shop? I promise you, it's not just about selling a few extra lattes. This is a deep, fascinating business strategy that tells us a whole lot about where shopping is headed. Now, while this whole trend feels super new, like it just happened overnight, it actually has a bit of a history. And to really get why it's absolutely exploding right now, we got to take a quick look back at the brands who started it all.
Okay, so you had the pioneers, right? Barnes& Noble and Target, they were way ahead of the curve, starting this stuff decades ago. But just look at this timeline. The real explosion, the big wave, it's almost all happened in just the last few years. And believe me, that is no accident.
So what's really driving this thing? What lit the fuse? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is something we all went through: the pandemic. It completely flipped the script on how we feel about going to a physical store. Think about it. We all got super comfortable getting literally everything delivered right to our doorstep. So retailers had this massive problem. How do we convince people to actually leave their house and come back? They needed to offer something special, an experience you just can't get by clicking a button online. In cafes, well, they turned out to be the perfect answer. The business case for adding a cafe is actually kind of genius because it works on so many levels. It's not just about making a little extra money from coffee. No, it's about creating a whole vibe. Engaging all your senses, the amazing smell of espresso, the sounds of the milk frother. It makes you want to hang out longer. And that extra dwell time is absolutely crucial because it leads to the real prize, a major boost in sales for the store's main products. And listen, we're not talking about a little bump in sales here. Coach reported that in their stores that have a coffee shop, they're seeing a double to triple digit increase in retail sales. That is an absolutely massive return on investment, all from just adding a little coffee bar. Now, this strategy gets really, really interesting when you look at high-end luxury brands. They've figured out that a simple cup of coffee can be this amazing, accessible doorway into a world that for many people feels totally out of reach. Let's be real. Most of us can't just casually walk in and drop $450 on a handbag. But almost anybody can swing $15 for a cool branded coffee and a slice of cake. This is what the industry calls attainable luxury. It's a way for a customer to get a taste of the brand, to feel a part of it, without that scary price tag. And this quote from a rep at Coach is just fascinating. They are literally creating their next generation of loyal customers. These kids, 13, 14 years old, are building a positive memory with the brand. So down the road, when they can afford that handbag, guess what brand is already at the top of their list? It's brilliant. But here's the thing you've got to understand. Not every brand is doing this in the exact same way. This is not a one-size-fits-all strategy. The approach is being tweaked to fit very different goals. And when you look at the details, it tells you a lot about each company. So let's break this down because it's pretty different across the board. You've got Capital One, who actually outsources its cafe operations, and they focus on these really premium city locations to just build up their brand image. Then you have Coach, doing the total opposite. They keep everything in-house and are expanding aggressively into outlet malls, trying to capture a very specific shopper. And then there's Uniqlo, just playing it cool and strategic, only putting cafes in their most important flagship stores around the world. And the Capital One strategy, it's particularly smart. I mean, how do you make an invisible product, like banking, feel real and friendly? Well, you create a physical space. Their cafes literally personify the brand. They're welcoming, they're modern, and there's zero pressure to actually open an account. It's basically banking disguised as a really chill coffee break. Okay, so this all sounds pretty amazing. But now that it seems like every brand, from Uniqlo to Louis Vuitton, is opening a cafe, a huge new challenge is popping up. How on earth do you stand out when everybody is doing the same thing?
Yeah, experts are starting to point out there's a bit of a herd mentality going on right now. And when everyone has a cafe, well, it stops being special, right? It just becomes another thing you expect to see, and that original magic, that surprise, it just gets lost.
So, the real key to success now isn't just opening a cafe. It's about deep, meaningful integration. You can't just stick a generic coffee counter in the corner and call it a day. The winning brands have to create their own unique coffee experience, something that immerses you in their world, from the design all the way down to the menu. And Coach offers a perfect example of how to do this right. They didn't just serve a plain old chocolate cake. No, they created an edible version of their iconic Tabby handbag. I mean, come on, that is genius. It's super shareable on social media, it's a direct link to one of their core products, and it's an experience you literally can't get anywhere else. So, as we watch this trend just keep on growing, the ultimate takeaway is really this. Success in this new space, it's not about the quality of the espresso anymore. It's about the quality of the story your brand tells with it. The real winners are going to be the ones who don't just sell coffee, they brew an absolutely unforgettable experience.